What's good? It's your boy Mike. I'm back at it again with another video. And today we're going to talk about how to properly curse, bind, hex, and execrate your enemies. But before we do that, I'm going to put out a little disclaimer. I am aware that there are different groups of people that are watching my videos. Some are here to learn, some are not here to learn. Some are here to pick apart whatever I have to say to find the slightest grammatical error. Others are here to try to reverse engineer the information to try to use it against me or whatever. The information I'm putting out is protected and not by my own hand. And so if you are here to try to reverse engineer it to find some loophole in it so you can use it against me or use it against one of my allies that's associated with me, good luck with that, because you're going to have a very hard time and it's not going to be good repercussions. But moving on from that, so the general principles of death, hexing, cursing, execration, and the like. First of all, you have to know what you're doing. You have to plot out your work. You have to be able to think strategically. You have to know the terrain, as I covered in the last video. You have to know what currents your enemy works with, that kind of thing. First thing you need to do is bind your enemy, because this will restrain them from taking any further magical action against you unless they break the bindings. How do you do this? Very simple. If you're working with sympathetic magic using physical elements like herbs, that kind of thing, or an effigy, you can take the effigy and you can wrap, let's say, barbed wire around it if you have that. If you don't have that, you can wrap any kind of particular piece of metal. I would not recommend copper, because copper helps increase the energy flow around the person or the object that it's tied to. The last thing you want to do is accidentally empower your enemy to take further magical action against you. So, barbed wire, you could use, let's see, what else? Twine, natural, what's the word I'm looking for? Natural twine that comes from like vines and those kind of things, to wrap around the effigy, and you command that by the powers of darkness, or whether you work with the elements or whatever you work with, that enemy is bound, unbreakable. It is really that fucking simple. If you're using a specific incantation, focus with extreme focus on that enemy. Visualize them bound in chains of darkness and hellfire, and then give that oration, give that incantation, and they will be restrained from taking further magical action against you. Now, to add to that, since that is a basic binding, if you want to intensify it and heat up the manifestation of it, you can take chipotle chili powder and sprinkle it along the effigy that has the twine wrapped around it. What this will do is this will heat up the astral manifestation of that around their astral body. This translates to a literal state of catatonia, as in like deep physical paralysis, to the point to where the person knows what they want to do, but it's like their body is not listening or their body is not responding. They just sit there for 30 fucking minutes trying to make themselves take action against you. And that shit, I can tell you from experience, is very fucking hard to break through. You have to have an extreme strength of will to even nudge your way past that shit. So keep that in mind. Also, if you tend to work with polarities, you can use the chili powder and you can use ice cubes. Ice will help slow down the manifestation and solidify it. At the same time, the chipotle pepper or chili pepper will help speed it up and heat up its manifestation. So you have those two forces working for your benefit. There are other ways to bind a person as well. You can use thorns. If you work with the Norse current of magic, the rune Thurisaz, it can be a very good way to surround your enemy with spiritual thorns that stop them from taking certain action. And every time they take that action against you, shit will go wrong in their lives until they get the backfeed the work of your enemies. What do I mean by backfeed? Whenever you do magical work, it sends out a current of energy that goes to fulfill your will. Sometimes that current can be not so much suppressed, but it can be bottled, so to speak. And it will have less of an effect than other times when it's at full capacity. A backfeeding essentially reverses the current of magic that you send out, so it flows back to you. And it keeps being bottled up and bottled up and bottled up until it finally explodes. Now, depending on the kind of backfeeding you do, it can destroy you, especially if it's baneful work and it backfires. Or you can backfeed it to the point where it destroys your enemy. It's kind of like a delayed effect, so to speak, like a delayed explosive effect of power with your sorcery. There are many ways to do this. You can use a simple reversal spell. Take a white candle, anoint it with whatever oils and herbs you're going to fucking use, and then focus your intent and will upon preemptively reversing any negative work being done against you, to the point that when they fire off the ritual, it utterly destroys them. Now, this can manifest in a few ways. Their altar might catch on fire while they're right there doing their work. They might launch the work. A few minutes later, they fall down the fucking steps and snap their neck. That kind of thing. It can take a wide variety of looks and appearances, but either way, their work will not be able to get to you. Having done this, now it's time to curse, or death curse rather, your enemy. There's different ways to do this. It's as unique as each practitioner, but some basic methods are to channel death essence all throughout the person's body, especially their brain and the synapses in their brain. This will lead to, one, a generation of microbacteria that eats at their brain. This is reminiscent of, what is that disease? It's a cow disease that fucking eats the person's brain. I cannot think of the fucking name of it right now, but it resembles that. Also, it breaks the synapses in their brain that control breathing, free will, the beat of their heart, and all that other kind of shit. So you're not only mind breaking a person with this if you do it the right way, but you're paving the way for them to return as an undead servant. We'll get into matters of undeath probably in the next video. But you can simply visualize death essence, summoning it up by sheer will, and direct it to move throughout the aura and energy and subtle bodies of your opponent. Now, you have to be very careful with this, because if the person is already a necromancer or they're already attuned to the currents of death, it's probably not going to work. It's going to have the exact opposite effect. So you have to be very wise. Again, you have to know your enemy. You can't just generalize and assume one thing or another. Another way to go about cursing and hexing your enemy, outside of using oils, effigies, all that other good shit, is to simply visit them in the astral. And if you know how to astral project, you can go to them and see their energy field, and you will see what looks like a horizon around their aura. This line that separates, or seems to separate, two different parts of their aura. This is called a hollow. And the hollow is the entrance for the animated spirit that is animating their body. You can do two things with this. You can either soul travel into that hollow and push them out, thus doing a form of reincarnation into them while still alive and thus controlling them. Or you can send a demonic spirit, or a spirit of the dead, or if you're really fucking evil, a celestial spirit, to possess them and push them out and control them to get them to do whatever you want. This can result in suicide. The person just grabs a knife and fucking eviscerates themselves. This can result in violent conflict. They just start whacking at their fucking wife and shit, or their fucking kids. You can do this same thing with other people, especially working with certain groups of the dead, like the murderous dead. It's very, I'm not going to say it's very easy, but it's very conflict and difficult difficulty-free to get them to surround and possess a group of people that are associated with your target. Next thing you know, violent outbursts occur, injuries occur, gunshots, all that good shit. That's one way to do it, but it does take time depending on your skill and level of ability. So I would suggest if you are a novice in astral projection and you're going up against an opponent that's more advanced than you, please do not try that unless you want to really take that risk and take a chance. Another method that you can do to curse your enemies, especially if it's a group of them, is to turn the hearts and minds of each member of that group against your target. For this, I suggest herbs of confusion, especially poppy seeds. The reason I say poppy seeds is because they not only affect the astral temperament of your target and those associated with them, they go deeper into the oneric realm, the dream world, and thus they start having dreams supposedly gotten from their spirits that a friend of theirs that they just talked to yesterday is starting to betray them and work against them. You feel me? And if they follow these intuitions, if they follow these dreams, is going to lead to arguments and assumptions being made, messing up of tactical strategy and all that other good shit, which then leads to infighting, the divide and conquer strategy. Split them up, cause distractions, boom, you have an open gate to take out your target. You feel me? On that note, one of the first things you need to do when you're hexing a single target is to confuse them. Make it appear like it's coming from different sources, like it's from different people. And the more confused they get, the more vulnerable they will get because they will lose their cool. Also, this is where ego comes in. If you can make a person lose their shit, then you have power, a degree of power over them, because they're not going to be focused if they haven't sharpened and learned how to use their anger as a spiritual weapon. Now, if it's a person that's really like fucking hyper aware and they know themselves, they know how they normally function, their baseline of activity and all that good shit, it's going to be very fucking difficult to confuse them. And if you do, they're going to automatically know where it comes from. Now, if you're on the receiving end of this kind of thing, meditation is the best thing that you can do in order to remedy this. Why do I say that? Because if you don't know yourself, if you don't know your own currents of energy and how you and your God essence, your God self, your higher self normally function, how the fuck can you know someone else? It's impossible. You can't. Once you know and are able to chart and regulate your own mental activity, your own spiritual activity over a period of time, you'll automatically know when someone is trying to fuck with you, or whether it's an external agent such as a wandering spirit, a parasite, an elemental, that kind of thing. Moving on from that, if you want to go the traditional route with cursing and hexing, there are so many fucking ways to do it, it's ridiculous. One good way is the basic candle curse. Take a black candle, anoint it with death oil, Dume oil, have a link to your target there. Anoint the picture with a lock of hair, or the panties of the target if it's a female, the underwear of the target if it's a male. Ball everything up in the undergarments, tie it up, hold it over the candle, pronounce the curse. Sympathetically, you're using the powers of fire to heat up the astral body of your enemy, specifically the genitals. The genitals, why do I say that? Because of the association underwear has with the genital area. You see how everything works here? That there's like a hidden thread that connects all of this. As you study more and you get more into how herbs work and how they interact with the astral body and the reason for this, that, and the other, then you'll start to understand and be able to construct your own magical workings. After the curse is done, cleanse yourself. You do not want to carry the residual of evil work around with you in your day-to-day life. Now, some of us, we're able to fucking do it because we just don't give a damn. And it doesn't really do shit to us except let us revel in a perceived amount of power that we have over the world and all the other kind of shit. But oftentimes, if you're doing positive work, such as money spells, money rituals, that kind of thing, you don't want that contagion to enter into your positive work, your money magic, because it will produce the opposite results. There are many ways to cleanse yourself. You can take spiritual baths, salt bath, fucking lavender bath. You can look this shit up on Google. There's so much you can do out there. But make sure you cleanse yourself, and after that, you will be situated. Now, I do have to say, curse work and death magic is oftentimes not a one-time thing at all. You have to be consistent with this shit. If you want to see your enemies dead, you have to fucking stay with the shit. You have to stay with them when they fucking retaliate. When you see family members dropping dead and going insane, there ain't no stopping once you start this shit. You can take a little break, you can replenish your energy, but you fucking fight, and you fucking fight to the last man. They may give up. They make some bullshit excuses like, oh, I'm not giving them my energy, and, he can't do anything. Okay, that's cool. You keep going. Because if you don't, if you stop right before your enemy is fucking dead, they will gain their energy again and will come back more vicious than they were initially. That is a rule of warfare that's been known throughout centuries. That's why you never, ever, ever leave an enemy behind at all. Crush them to the last fucking person. Another thing I want to say is that patience, divine patience, is required when doing death magic, because there are so many fucking factors that can inhibit or expedite the death of your opponent. It can drive you fucking insane sometimes, and I'm speaking from personal experience. It can fucking drive you insane, but do not let that stop you. You have to see the beginning from the end. You have to see how all the factors, all the pieces of the puzzle work together to bring about the demise of the enemy. It may take you 2 days, it may take you 2 hours, it may take you 2 years, it may take you 2 decades. It doesn't fucking matter. There are sorcerers in other planes of existence that wait years in the shadows, moving things in place, one thing at a time, in order to bring about the demise of their enemy. If they can fucking do it, you can fucking do it too. Just that simple. Now, something else I kind of want to touch on is the involvement of deities in magical warfare. We live on a planet of 9 billion people, 9 billion plus people, most of which have no formal spiritual connection to any entity besides their own ancestors. But some do have connections to certain deities in different pantheons. So this brings up the question, what if you're connected to, let's say, Aries, and your enemy is also connected to Aries, and both of you call upon Aries for intervention and assistance? Who's gonna win? The answer is the one with the strongest connection to Aries. That's why you stay on top of your pacts, your offerings, your tributes, your relationship with your spirits, making sure that you're not so much even in resonance with the spirit or with the deity, but that you're a pure vessel for that deity or whatever entities you work with, because that's going to count heavily in whether that entity decides that he's going to help you or help your enemy. So keep that in mind. It's the same thing for working with angels, demons, elementals, fucking wraiths, for all we care, and all the other good shit, especially when working with the dead. And of course, there are ways to break the connections between your enemy and their deities. Many different fucking ways, which have to be done over a period of time, and you risk having to take on the deity themselves, which can be very fucking troublesome at times. That's all I'm going to say on that one. But another important aspect in curse work, hex work, all that good shit is divination and intel. You need to know what entities are connected to your opponent and how the overall tide of the battle is going to turn out. If you know that you're going to fucking lose trying to mess with another sorcerer, don't fucking mess with them. It's that fucking simple. It really is that fucking simple. You have to put your ego aside and you have to be honest about what you see in the spirit realms, in the astral. Now, if you know you're going to lose and you know you also have the resources to change the tide of battle through luck, fate, tactical thinking, strategy, staying in the shadows, keeping your fucking mouth shut, and all this other kind of shit, go for it. Fucking go for it and win your victory. Proceed mightily into the bloody field. But if you are in hubris, pride, and ego, and you simply think just because you've been doing this for 20 fucking years that you have the drop on someone who's been doing it for 6 years, even though you do have no idea what the fuck they've been doing to get them to this level, you're gonna fucking lose. Plain and simple. Because, and I'm not just saying this for myself, but there are other people besides me that I know that just don't give a damn. Like, they don't give a damn about your title. They don't care about your rank. Nothing. They have done some really fucking OP shit. More than what I have done. And so you really have to be careful who you fuck with in this world. And I keep saying that for a fucking reason, yo. Because so many people in the magical community are just plain stupid. They go off of assumptions. They go off of ego. Not doing no form of inner work to have any kind of internal wisdom or guidance that guides their decisions, especially in warfare. And then they wonder why all this fucked up shit is happening to them. They wonder why the guy that they thought was weak is now banging their ex and all this other kind of stuff. And they wonder why fucking 2 years later they're still struggling. They haven't gained anything. It's the lack of wisdom, the lack of self-knowledge. So with that being said, I'm going to conclude this video. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. And of course, I'm going to post my links in the description. For my Patreon subscribers, there's more content coming. Please bear with me as I put that out. And until next time, I'll talk to you later.